Hey, I'm John Reeves III. I'm the founder of Garage and Life, and today this is going to be a product review of the shoulder horn. This is not an unboxing review because this is actually my second or third time purchasing a shoulder horn, and I think that this is one of the most awesome training tools that you should have in your home gym, especially if you do a lot of bench pressing. The shoulder horn is a rotator cuff training device that was developed by Dr. Joseph Horrigan, who is a chiropractor, and we used to see them all of the time in the pages of Iron Man magazine. The first one I bought was when I was employed by a public gym, and we started having a lot of people having issues with their rotator cuff, and I saw this ad. So of course I'm like, hey, this thing might be a gimmick, but let's give it a shot. Went ahead, we bought it, and everybody who used it was really pleased with the results. Then after I started competing in powerlifting, after I started my home gym, I went ahead and I got one of these to kind of help me avoid injuries, and then I ended up loaning it out to somebody else, and their dog chewed it up. And so now this is my third time buying a shoulder horn. And while some people may say that $80 for what's essentially a piece of pipe wrapped in foam padding is a little too expensive, I think that this thing is invaluable, especially if you compare the cost of this versus the cost of rotator cuff surgery. It weighs probably around 2 pounds. It's found on Amazon, and when you order it, it's gonna get to your house pretty quickly. It's not necessarily eligible for prime shipping, but it still didn't take me a long time to get it. This is one of the products that is in the Body Solid inventory, so it's yet another awesome product that Body Solid has taken, put in their store, and now makes available to their dealers. So you might be able to find it locally if you are near a Body Solid dealer. Here's how to use the shoulder horn. I'll tell you this. When people first look at this thing, they're always like, well, what the heck is this? And as you see, it kind of looks like these are horns, hence the name. And although it can be confusing when you first get it, I promise you, there's only one way to put it on correctly. And this is it. So you put it on, and if you've put it on correctly, you'll find that the horns are pointing back behind you. And that's how you know that you have it on correctly. What it does is essentially stabilize your elbows so that when you're doing any kind of L-fly or face pull, your elbows don't go up and down. Yes, there are hacks, like you could, for example, do your L-flies, your rotator cuff flies, whatever you want to call them. You can do them by taking an incline bench and setting the incline all the way up at 90 degrees. But the problem that I have with doing that is that it's hard to keep your elbow on the bench. And of course, you can only do one arm at a time. So after you do a set of 10 or whatever you're doing, you got to switch sides, which makes everything take a little bit longer. And a lot of times in our home gyms, we are pressed for time. We're training before work or whatever. And so I don't want to do anything that's going to add to the length of time that my workout is going to take, especially when something like this is relatively inexpensive and does the job so well. When you get this, it's going to show up pretty much like this. There's absolutely no assembly, but you do want to make sure that you check for rips and tears, like right there. This is the only defect that I found. Now, that's not enough to bother me because I don't plan on letting anybody with or without pets borrow my shoulder horn again. But if you get it, you might want to reach out to them and say, hey, look, I need you to replace this because this is like a minor rip or tear. The shoulder horn comes in 3 different sizes. They all cost the same. You can get it in small, and that is for anyone who's up to 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighs up to 140 pounds. You can get the medium/large like I have, which is for anybody who's up to 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. And then you can get the extra large/2X if you're over 6 feet tall or you weigh over 200 pounds. Now, there is a little bit of gray area because I weigh over 200 pounds, but the medium large still fits me perfectly. The reason for this is because you're looking at your dimensions. You want to make sure that when you put on your shoulder horn, your elbows fit snugly into this groove right there. So if your shoulders are too wide, you're gonna end up finding that your elbows are out here, and so the device is not gonna work as well. And you also don't wanna be like this with way too much room here. It's gonna have you at the wrong angle. Now, the shoulder horn comes with this handy manual, which goes into not only the history of the device, but it also helps you out in making sure that you've got the correct fit. And then it gives you some exercise ideas as well as tips on how often you should use the device. Now, a couple of ways that I use the shoulder horn are I use it for any kind of L-fly or face pull. So if I'm doing dumbbell L-flies, I use it, but I also like using it if I am doing L-flies with a band or definitely face pulls with a band. And another cool thing about it is because it stabilizes your elbows, I'm able to use 2 light bands independently of each other. So let's say I've got one shoulder that's stronger than the other. I can use two different strengths of band tension so that I can still get a really good workout. One shoulder's not holding the other one back. That's pretty much it. This thing retails for $80 on Amazon, and I think it is well worth the price. It is very, very easy to store. Now, let's talk about some cons. Number one, I said it's easy to store, but you see how long it is? If you are the sort of person who wants to take it with you when you're going out of town, this is gonna be awkward to fit in a suitcase. If you sometimes visit a public gym, this is gonna be awkward to stick in your gym bag because it doesn't fold up. This is it. It does store well. You can hang it up on the wall, which is where I normally store mine, but it doesn't travel well. The other con, and to me, this is the biggest one, it's hard to find. When you go on Amazon and you look up shoulder horn, you're gonna see a whole bunch of things. Typically what pops up are shoulder braces. And so what I ended up having to do was put in shoulder horn, two words, shoulder horn, rotator cuff training device. I'm gonna put the link for this in the description for this video, but YouTube is starting to be a little bit stricter about the links that they allow you to put in your videos. So I won't be able to put the link in the comments, but it is in the description for this video so you guys can still find it. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever used a shoulder horn? And if you did, what did you think of it? And if you haven't, has my video made you curious about trying the shoulder horn for yourself? Go ahead and drop a comment. And also, if you have any questions about anything that I may not have covered that you just want to know about, go ahead and ask me that in the comments as well. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support.